Garnt is many things. The fourth ever AnyTuber with this channel Gigguk, a third of one of the most popular and successful podcasts on YouTube, Trash Taste, a former monk, lead guitarist of 9.5 Pounds, and ex-employee of the BBC. He's also not one of, but the biggest inspiration as to why I started this channel in the first place. So when he dropped the absolute bombshell that was the trailer to Bâan, an anime short film created by himself, I couldn't believe it. Seeing original work by Garnt was absolutely surreal, and I couldn't have been more excited for it to be released, especially after seeing Kevin Penkin's name attached to the project. So what did I think of it? Well, let's just say it's been a while since I've cried, but in all seriousness, I genuinely had to mentally prepare myself when watching Bâan. But not because I thought it was going to be sad or anything, but because of how much this project even existing meant to me, which I'll dive into a little later. The story follows Daichi and Rin and their journey to find a new life. Daichi is your average Japanese guy who struggles to find a career after graduating from uni and seeks a new life in a Southeast Asian inspired land called Euthania, whereas Rin is Euthanian who's job searching in Japan. While I initially had an idea of what kind of a relationship Daichi and Rin would have with each other, the way Garnt connects it to was something I was not expecting, but so glad that happened. The climax of Bâan gave me Your Name vibes, which may or may not make sense but is high praise enough for someone's anime debut. Its visuals are industry standard, but the use of CG on the dragon-like being was incredibly well done. It definitely doesn't feel like this project was almost entirely funded by a single person, and indirectly MiHoYo, and this is attributed to Garnt's approach with Bâan, who allowed the production team to spend as much time as they needed when working on the film.
I can do that with this because I basically said, if there is anything you need to make the project higher quality, make the project to fit in the vision that I want it to be, please just ask me for an increased budget and I will make it work.
The music behind Bâan is also just as beautiful as its visuals, with Kevin Penkin composing the OST. Kevin Penkin is one of my favorite composers, and listening to him talk about his process on Bâan's OST was such a delight on his Trash Taste episode. I swear, I could listen to Kevin Penkin talk about synthesizers for 8 hours straight without getting bored. He also spent time researching different Thai and other Southeast Asian instruments to implement in Bâan's music without making it feel forced or even worse, stereotypical. The music has his distinct style while incorporating those Southeast Asian instruments like the klui, kan, and xylophone, and I can't wait for it to be released on streaming services. I also think it's beautiful and poetic that Garnt's Best of Anime 2017 video helped push Kevin to continue working as a composer for anime, leading to their friendship, leading to him being on the project. I think most people would think Bâan is just okay or not bad, but for someone like Garnt or myself being a second generation immigrant, Bâan will resonate deeply. Garnt made it clear that this anime will have Southeast Asian influence, and it definitely does on the visual side of things, but what's abundantly clear are the feelings that a lot of Southeast Asian second generation immigrants have. The conflicts between you and your parents, the feeling of burden you may carry because they've sacrificed so much to make a living in a foreign country, and the feeling of not belonging to the country where you live in versus the country people expect to hear when they ask you where you're from. I cannot understate my appreciation I have towards Garnt for giving us that kind of representation, telling a story only a second generation immigrant could tell. Bâan could have been the generic anime we were expecting it to be when he slapped the label of isekai on it, but Bâan tells a story that only someone with his experiences could tell, and is probably the only person that had the opportunity to do so in an anime medium. I'm half Vietnamese and half Hmong. I grew up around my dad's side of the family with all of my aunties and uncles and grandparents speaking Vietnamese, but after my parents split, I went with my mom. I saw them less frequently and eventually lost the language. It's kind of funny and depressing at the same time that the only Vietnamese words or phrases I know are eat more, drink milk, go play, or take a bath. My mom, on the other hand, was always busy working, and because I never really spoke with my mom's side of the family and she spoke English to me, I didn't learn Hmong either. I remember I was often seen as the Hmong kid on my Vietnamese side of the family and the Vietnamese kid on my Hmong side of the family. This is not even mentioning the fact that I grew up as an Asian in America, when the stereotype back then was math and kung fu instead of Valorant and Boba. Being lost in the space in between is something I've dealt with my whole life, and have accepted a long time ago, but Bâan reminds me that it's not all doom and gloom. Bâan reassures me that I can build my own home, that I can start my own family and provide things I never got to have, like the ability to speak to my grandchildren. Bâan is yet another anime that reminds me why I love anime so much. It feels so personal. There is so much context to Bâan that is unseen, and it resonates with me deeply. It's not something I can get out of your average movie or TV show, it's something I can only get through a medium as personal as anime. But that isn't the only reason why I love Bâan so much. As a fan of Garnt, it feels so rewarding seeing him being able to visualize the finish line in finding a home. He's someone who's lived in England, Thailand, China, and now Japan, and immediately after watching Bâan, I thought of this conversation he had with Dr. K.
While we're talking on the topic of like holes in your life and things that maybe you're not like completely fulfilled with, one thing I've always battled with is the concept of like a home.
I have a feeling, hopefully, that you'll carve out your home. It's not something that you're going to find preformed. Not you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because right now
Right.
what I'm hearing is that you're looking for a perfect place. Like, oh, this is the problem in Thailand. I mean, a home isn't perfect. It's, you
Yeah.
know, there's lots of problems with it, as you'll discover.
Okay.
And then that's just a thing, though, is that it's the place that you accept in spite of its flaws. Whereas a lot of times when we're looking for a home, we're looking for that place where that feels right.
Okay.
And it feels right because you break it in, you know. It's like a pair of shoes.
Right.
Like you wear them a couple times and then they feel right.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I mean,
I couldn't be any happier for Garnt, and I would have been just fine with Bâan being a generic isekai, but it delivered so much more. So consider Bâan the best isekai I've ever seen. Gigguk and Trash Taste are the biggest reasons why I started making videos. Hearing Garnt, Connor, and Joey talk about YouTube inspired me to start making my own videos. Garnt is also responsible for putting me on a lot of anime I otherwise wouldn't have watched, including Frieren. My most successful YouTube video at the moment is my coverage on Frieren, and without Garnt and Trash Taste, I would have never made that video. I was so ecstatic when my video popped off and my channel became eligible for monetization. For a while, I couldn't decide what I would spend my first YouTube payout on, but after watching Bâan, I knew I had to support my biggest inspiration and buy some gorgeous Bâan merch. It all feels so surreal, hearing that Garnt has his own anime, with Connor directing the English dub, Cindy voicing in that dub, Joey helping out with the merchandise, and Kevin Penkin on the OST. Bâan is an anime I think absolutely everybody should watch solely based off of its origins, and it's something I hope we're able to see more of in the future. I think Bâan is not just a pivotal moment in Garnt's career, but also a pivotal moment in the entire anime industry and AniTube. By the slim chance that Garnt watches this video, I want to say thank you for everything. Trash Chase especially has gotten me through the toughest times of my life, and I could not be more grateful for the Gigguk channel, Bâan, and Trash Chase. So, thank you. With that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe as I try to make the best quality anime content whenever I can. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of Bâan and if it resonated with you as deeply as it did with me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Is home a place?
I've been grappling with that question a lot. Is home a place or is home like a feeling? Because this is gonna sound like super cheesy, but like the closest thing I have a feeling to like a home now, is like when I feel like I'm at home. Is it doesn't really matter where it is, but say I've traveled home and every time I went on a journey, my mom would always cook me the same meal just to be like, hey, welcome back. Here's mom's cooking again. And like the feeling I get was just like every time I take like that first bite, that's like the feeling I get where I truly realize, oh, okay, I'm home now. This is a good feeling.
What do you think?